From a Japanese thread, check out these reactions to mobile suits that likely stopped production after the 1-year war.
So, did Zeon start making ground-only mobile suits like the Goof after they got pushed off the surface?
When was the early model GM made again?
So it was made in Jaburo.
So about the E model, apparently there was a plan for an E-Type based on it, but they scrapped it because the G-Type series got done way ahead of schedule. Honestly, I think they just switched the production line to the official GM or GM Kai, which looks the same anyway.
So, about those Jaburo-made AB-type GMs, they must have been produced non-stop, right? Even with the shift to the C-type GM Kai at one point. So, since the GM2 was built off the AB-type GM, the production line probably just kept going the whole time.
So production kept going until the new GM Kai came out after the war. We went from GME to GMC, GMD to GMGS, GM Custom, and GMB to GM2.
GM-kun kept getting updates and turned into a totally different machine in no time.
It's more of a standard than a model.
Zacrello!
What are you ticking about? That machine showed up late in the war.
Those weren't mass-produced, were they?
I don't think they ever made those since they were just prototypes.
So, the Zacrello from Dimitri got scrapped, and there's a theory that only 2 Azams were ever made, so no production likely happened.
So there are 3 Azams. The main story is Azam Kai from Lost War Chronicles, and Azam Olga from Kurochi.
If the molds are good, Zeon might do a re-release.
Molds? You mean like plastic models? They're casting molds, LOL.
Wait, mobile suits are made from castings?
Zeon's mobile suits are like they were just picked from a farm.
General industrial products use casting molds, while smaller parts use metal molds.
Castings aren't very strong, especially for MS.
But forging isn't realistic either. It's more likely they cast, machine, and reinforce them like they do in real life.
That's where Minovsky particles save the day. When in doubt, just blame them.
I think they usually use metal molds.
Casting isn't as fragile as you might think. Actually, cast bronze is tougher than cast iron, even if it's less common and often replaced by iron. Some metals are good for casting, and some aren't, so if it works for casting, you're all good.
Gundam, right?
Other than the NT1, they didn't really produce anything else. If they made it to the second batch, it seems weird to be so cheap about it.
I don't think the 7th unit was finished on time, but it looks like it was made.
The 7th unit came out after the war, so it's definitely post-war.
Type 61 tank? If GMs are being made, there's no point in producing those anymore. It's just wasting production resources.
I think they were still making tanks. MS pilots have a different skill set than regular soldiers. Some former military doctors were even more valuable than pilots, infantry, or tank crews. Some skilled tank crews just couldn't pilot MS, so they ended up being wasted. Since we had to use the soldiers we had, they had to make weapons for those who couldn't switch to MS. Even after the war, patrol vehicles are still cheaper than MS because they have fewer moving parts and lower maintenance costs.
Sadly, in the Universal Century, MS take over all patrol duties and support vehicles like hover trucks pretty much vanish. Tanks are way less common now, replaced by variable MS like the Roto and Guntank R44, and even aviation is taken care of by variable MS, SFS, and MS, FS. After the 1-year war, all that's left in the Universal Century are mobile suits, warships, and support gear.
Oh, and at Trenton Base.
So, the Zeon remnants on the ground teamed up with old models to take on Trenton. But I guess some folks just don't get the story.
Wait, you're ticking about the Federation side, right? That's a big mix-up.
Trenton Base is basically a museum of old weapons. I can't remember if the Type 61 was there, though.
Honestly, it's not surprising. If it was officially adopted in 61, that's only about 30 years by the 90s. I'm not sure about the Universal Century, but in real life, tanks like that are still in use. Even if MS takes over, it's better to use what you've got than throw it away, right?
Isn't that a bit too definitive? Unless a post-1-year war work clearly states when tank production stopped, it's a different story.
The Zanskar Empire has aircraft too.
Don Escargot and Tin Cod 2 are used only when mobile suits can't do the job, even though they don't perform well for their cost at high altitudes compared to Gaplant.
After the 1-year war, the Federation probably didn't have the resources to make tanks and was all in on GM production instead. So after the war, the line just stuck with GM and GM2, no reboot.
The Type 61 was in service for a long time, but they stopped production and never picked it back up.
Battlefields that needed tanks are pretty much gone now.
So the Type 61 stopped production after the MS was a hit, and then the Gun Tank 2 came out as its successor in Z and UC, right?
Hey, do you know about any tanks besides the Type 61, like the ones at Kilimanjaro and Z?
So they say it was active until 87, but maybe just the surviving vehicles are left.
Forget about one-offs and prototypes. They weren't mass-produced, so you can't really stop production.
The swim team should show up later in the timeline.
After the Jaburo battle, there weren't really any new designs or productions. They just finished up what was already in the works and sent them out around Belfast.
I'm curious how the factory schedules managed all these new mass-produced weapons.
In that world, it's best to think, as long as you have blueprints and materials, it won't take long to manufacture to keep your cool.
Zeon makes custom masterpieces by hand, while the Federation just orders parts from different places and puts them together.
The Zaku I and 2 are pretty old models.
After the Antarctic Treaty, they quickly switched from the C-type with radiation shielding to the lighter F-type by ditching those shields. Old Zaku's probably switched to Zaku 2 production before the 1-year war, since they share some compatible parts.
Zaku J-type. Since it's a Zaku, they probably switched the production line for space use.
Goof probably got phased out too. The Dom series are solid heavy machines, so they likely stuck around longer. But when you compare Guff and GM as heavy machines, Guff just doesn't have any advantages. So, after the integrated maintenance plan, you can modify the J-type by buying parts, which is cool. But if you say it's probably absorbed into the space line, it really feels that way, so there aren't any openings.
DOMs aren't great for forests or high-rises where hover is tricky, so it really depends on the situation.
The Black Tri-Star's Dom raced through forests, and an 08th MS team, a Dom outsmarted Karen's unit in the city, so it's not just about the location. After Z, all MS can hover.
In Doan, the Southern Cross team also uses hover machines in city battles.
They probably swapped the Dom for the Rick Dom on the production line.
Troppen and Doage were likely produced in limited quantities.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe for more. See you in the next one.